He has the podium in there too, like.
Lucy wants us to start.
The only bad thing about that is kind of false advertising.
I know. So I said, I'm just going to come over and ask you too if you thought about it.
Starting early.
It'd be 15 minutes early.
Might be people that tuned in at 7.
Well, they will have missed all of Tracie.
Yeah, 13. I understand that they might have lost the door or turn people away this way.
Yeah.
You just can't lock the door. That's a good idea to link the phone with you, but we got a retired person. Yeah.
Y'all want a minute?
Good evening, folks. We're 15 minutes away from starting. So that means we've got a lot more folks coming in who want to take part in this. I just want you to know that we are streaming this on YouTube. So if you want to go sit in your car, if you want to head on the floor, turn on YouTube, that's a possibility, but we are not going to start until 7 o'clock because that's what we have publicized. In the meantime, I'm going to turn this over to retired Chief John Linsenbigler, who's going to tell you about fundraising for the new fire station.
Yay. I'm trying to AI something real quick like to talk to. Yeah, I did do it. If I'd have known I was going to, have to be a filler, I would have pulled some of my jokes from my online. I took a UT stand-up comedy class at UT. That's what I could do in my retired years, do a little stand-up. So I'll tell you a 911 story. No, I'm just kidding. I was talking to Colleen. The library is already filled up because Seymour is growing drastically. That's why we're needing a new fire station. The one up on Fort Hill that was built in 71 has no showers. I can give you a whole list of things. The bays aren't big enough for the big trucks. So that's why we're broken ground. and moving dirt, and hopefully we have the loan secured from CNB Bank, and we have our contractor lined up. So hopefully, as soon as the plans come through state review, they'll start putting stuff up here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. They said it may be done by December. I doubt it. Being in construction for a lot of years, yeah, it takes a little while. But fundraising, the original budget was 2.5. Of course, costs have gone up since we projected that about 5 years ago with our architect. So then it came up to like 4.2 million. We can't afford that. So we made a few adjustments on it, not really changing anything on the inside. So the overall project is about 2.9 million. Our board said as soon as we raise 1 million, we'll start moving things forward, which we've done that over the last 5 years. People are like, why are you doing anything? It's fundraising. It's kind of the silent phase, dealing with some of our business partners. And now we're celebrating April 29th back out at Johnson University, having a gala event. We did a walkthrough today. I think last year we had, I think they said 180. We're at 316 people coming out. Jim Smith, local Smith Entertainment, he'll be performing. Biscuit, if you remember Biscuit from the Dixie Stampede, he'll be entertaining people as they come into the main building. So there are a few tickets left, but still we'll need everybody to help fundraise, because we don't want to take on, over $1 million in debt. That'd be pretty hard in a volunteer fire department industry. And as I tell people about the growth in this area, I think we all, if you've been around here in Seymour in the last 3 or 4 years, it's getting big. The Walmart across the street, when that gets done, other infrastructure things that are being done, it's going to get busy on Chapman Highway. So these are some good questions I'm seeing for Tracie about the road department, and some of the questions for the sheriff's office, because this area of Sevier County is growing exponentially, very much. So if you see things coming up about helping out for the building project or naming opportunities, if you look at some of the seats in front of you, you'll see what the Friends of the Library did here. You'll see they sold chairs, and that's what we'll probably have to do as well, is to outfit bedrooms, outfit the day room. So if you'd like to have your name on a recliner in my honor as a retired officer, make sure you get the big boy one. There'll be things like that. And we have a great community in this area. I tell people about our fire department. We are a functioning, dysfunctional tri-county community fire department, because we cover part of Knox County. You spit out the back door, you're in Blount County. People say, I live in Seymour. Where? Well, Seymour, Blount, Seymour, Sevier. So, but it's along that line. But things are moving on very well. So I need to waste another 6 minutes.
Actually,
Oh, good.
I'm Colleen Shannon with the Friends of Seymour Library, who is sponsoring this 3rd forum before the primaries. We had 2 very successful ones previously. I want to tell you that if you need the restrooms, they're down that hall. There is also a water fountain if you need that. I know, I'll stop waving.
And silence your devices.
Yes, silence your devices, please. You have all read the publicity that we do not take questions from the audience, but if you have a question, see our friends over there in the corner and write it out, and they'll be passed to John. If they're duplicate questions, obviously, we just pass one to him. As I said before, we are streaming on YouTube. But we're not there yet. We're going to start that part at, it's a go?
Yeah, we're streaming.
Okay, it's a go. So for those who are watching on YouTube, if you want to submit a question, you can do it in the chat function if you are subscribed to the Friends of Seymour Library on YouTube. So please do that. I'll be monitoring that. If we get questions, I'll bring them to John. We regret that Donnie Adams will not be with us in person tonight, but he has submitted a video, and we also regret we can't play the video, but we can play the audio. So you will hear Donnie apologize for not being here in person. We will start out with Tracie Jenkins Widner, candidate for Road Superintendent. And then we will move to the two candidates for the sheriff. Before we do that, I would like to ask any sitting county officials who are here tonight to stand up and introduce themselves. Penny?
Penny Johnson, I'm the general secretary. Hey, Penny.
Oh, sorry.
I'm Karen Ashley, I'm the circuit court clerk.
I'm Randy Ray, I'm a constable down in the 4th District, 6th.
There's so many people standing up now, I don't know what I should call on each one of you. Go ahead, Michael.
Donnie,
I'm Michael Hodges, I'm your Sevier County Sheriff.
Okay, and let's go ahead and introduce those who are running for these offices. For the County Commission, District 6.
See that? I'm Mike Pollard, nice seeing everybody out tonight.
Sarah, there you are.
Sarah Rutledge. I'm running for the county commissioner.
And Andy.
I'm Andy Jackson, I appreciate your vote.
She's going to introduce herself in just a minute. Okay, are we missing anybody? All right, we will proceed now. And Tracie, will you join us up here? And if, you know, I'm old enough to remember when young men stood up and gave their seats to women and older people. So if any of you feel called to do so, I would appreciate that. Okay. I am ready to turn this over to retired Chief John Linsenbigler, and we will start with the audio of Donnie Adams as soon as the chief gives his first comments.
Yeah, the video from Donnie Adams will be online on the YouTube site, right, Chuck?
We can do that.
Yeah, they'll post it up there, so if you would like to see it there. But yeah, good evening, as Colleen said. Welcome to this community conversation. I've moderated the commission one this year and one last year, and it's great to see the large turnout, because these are very crucial roles that touches everyday lives, from the road superintendent to sheriff's office, whether it's dealing with securing our roads and making sure our potholes are filled correctly, and then securing our neighborhoods by having law enforcement. We're gathered to ask, questions, hear answers, and most importantly, treat one another with courtesy. Our candidates, I do thank you very much for all the candidates. I tell, because I do this in some other areas in the area, talking with political people. It's very brave to put your name on a sign or your face on a sign and stick it in the yard. And I appreciate for everybody who's stepping up to serve in those roles. We'll keep the tone very constructive, focusing on policies and how it impacts us, the real people in Seymour, for these two very important positions. The primaries have already opened. They're at the Kodak Library tomorrow. Is it going to be here?
Next week.
No, it's not on that day.
Next week. this will be turned in for early voting. The most important thing to do is vote. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends, because we have a lot of people that are from out of area now. Oh, I don't want to vote in Sevier County. No, you need to vote. It's your God-given right in the United States. But with that, I'm going to turn over to, you're going to do your video. Sorry, do the audio. Oops, someone just called 911. Albert, turn off your pager. Go ahead.
Good evening, this is Donnie Adams, your Sevier County Road Superintendent. Unfortunately, due to a prior commitment, I'm not able to be in attendance tonight. I want to start by thanking friends of the Seymour Library for organizing this event. For 22 years, I have worked side by side with the men and women of the Sevier County Highway Department to ensure that our roads are safe and our communities are connected. From winter snowstorms to summer paving projects, I know what it takes to keep Sevier County moving safely. I have extensive knowledge in drainage, equipment operations, paving, budgeting, and safety. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me. Just remember, on May 5th, I would appreciate your vote and your support. Thank you.
Give each candidate a 2-minute opening time to introduce themselves to the group. So Tracie, the 2 minutes are yours. Then I start drilling your questions.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Tracie, before you start, this is a 1-minute warning, and then this is time's up. So, but don't get flummoxed by the 1-minute warning. Just the 1-minute warning. Time's up.
All right, thank you. So thank you for the Friends of the Seymour Library for allowing us to have this forum. I came to the last forum, so I know how nice it was to have the opportunity to have our candidates come speak and for you to ask your questions. So thank you for y'all setting this up. I just want to give you a little bit of background about me. I'm from Kodak, and I went to grade school there at Kodak in Northeast Schools. But I came to high school and I went to Seymour. So I'm a Seymour Eagle, played softball and basketball, made some of my best, longest friends in high school here. So, and then after high school, I went 2 years to Carson Newman College. And after Carson Newman, I went to UT, where I graduated with my Bachelor's of Science in Civil Engineering with an emphasis in transportation. Shortly after that, I got a job at the Tennessee Department of Transportation, TDOT, and I've been there ever since. And while working there, you know, when you work for a state office, you're able to take classes and continue your education. So I continued my education and received my Master's of Civil Engineering. So a little more education. But and then outside of work, and if y'all know me or follow me on Facebook, you know I'm always busy, and I've always been that way. I like to go. Staying home is not something I want to do. I want to go out. So, and not just going out, but doing things, helping people. So I go to church, and I'm very involved in my church. I'm part of the finance team. I'm president of the Women's Methodist group. I volunteer all the time, probably like a lot of other church-going people. You're helping with VBS and Easter and trunk or treat. So we're there, we're doing that. And we do a lot of that. Operation Christmas Child. And when I'm not at church, I spend a lot of my time with my DAR. So in 2018, me and my mother joined the DAR. There was going to be an opportunity for her and I to do more things together. So when we got involved with that, immediately I was involved with Veteran Services. So we went to the VA clinic up in Johnson City or Mountain Home. And while we were there, I just kind of fell in love with talking to veterans about their experiences. Some were good, some were not good, but that got me involved in Veteran Services. So continued on with VAR, I found out about these veterans breakfasts on Saturdays. And I found out that they have these breakfasts on Saturdays, but not in Sevier County. So I found out who to talk to, and I said, let's get it started. So in October of 22, we started our first breakfast at Kodak Church, and we meet on Saturdays. And it's always on the first, second, third, and last Saturday of the month. We have a veterans breakfast. Some of y'all that are veterans, you've probably been to these breakfasts. And it's food, it's good food city. A Southern breakfast, you know, gravy biscuits, scrambled eggs and sausage, and spaghetti sausage. And but it's a time for these veterans to talk and share and become, you know, friends. And a lot of people have become friends coming at those breakfasts. So that's a little bit about me and when I'm not working. But I want to tell you about why I want to run for road superintendent before I lose my time. So working at TDOT, I have been a supervisor for most of my 27 years. And most of that time has all been in construction, in the construction field office. And it has been supervision, so I've been supervising projects, people, money, budget. That's what I've been doing. And for the past 2 years, I've worked as a project manager in pre-construction. So pre-construction is when we're developing the plans, when we're buying right-of-way, when we're working with utilities to find out where those utilities are that we need to relocate. And so that's what I do now. And when I got hired, they said, you know what a project manager is? So you're managing people. And I said, but it sounds like to me, I'm going to be a pusher. I'm going to be pushing people to get the things done that they need to get done. And my supervisor has since passed away. It's very sudden. But he told me one day when he was meeting with the commissioner, he said, you know what they said? Project managers, they're pushers. They get stuff done. He said, do you remember what you said when you interviewed? I said, I think I said I was a pusher. And he goes, you did. And he goes, that's exactly what you are. You push people to get things done. So that's what I want to do for Sevier County. I want to make it better. I know it's good. We all like our roads. We have very nice roads. But I bet every single one of you know a road that needs improvement. And I bet you a lot of you are like me. You wish some of these roads were wider. You wish you had a shoulder. You wish you had something to drive off on when somebody crosses that double yellow line, that you've got somewhere to go to get back on the road. I've got a 17-year-old son that's here, and he's a new driver, and he scares me to death when he gets near that edge line. And I'm like, you get over a little bit in the middle, get closer to people in the middle, you got room. I said, they'll get over too. So I want to make these roads better. I want to make them wider. I was talking to bus drivers. They go on roads they can barely pass people on. They got roads that they have to get over and back up so other people can pass them. These are things I want to do. These are things that I want to work toward improving these roads. It all takes budget, takes planning, but that's what I plan to do.
Well, you answered a couple of questions there about your history of stuff. We'll do more of a one-on-one now.
Okay. I'm going to try not to keep looking this way, because the last one I saw people doing like this and like this. So I'm going to try to look at all y'all, because I don't want to give anybody my back.
You elaborated on growth. It's a big issue in the county. How is that impacting the road department? How's that going to impact the road department?
So the more growth we have, we're going to have more traffic, and we're going to have more damage to the roads that we have. And so I think that, that's an issue. So when you've got more traffic, you have more damage and you have more people on the roads. So it's not just an issue that I've got with the highway department. You're going to have issue with your emergency personnel, police department, fire department. You're all going to have issue with the growth. We need to make sure that the roads can accommodate the extra traffic that they're going to add. And I don't blame people for wanting a house, wanting a subdivision. We all got property. We want to build it up. We want to sell it, but we all want a nice home. And so it's going to grow. It's going to continue to grow. We just need to be making plans in preparation for that growth.
And a lot of people may not know that a lot of our roads in this area aren't county roads. They're TDOT roads.
State routes.
Oh yeah, state routes. They're everywhere. One of the questions is, how will you handle the county roads differently than TDOT? TDOT roads are not very good, is what the person said. So elaborate on that issue.
Can I look at it?
Oh, yeah.
All right. How will you handle county roads differently? So TDOT has, mostly a lot of 2 lanes, 3 lanes, 4 lanes, but the county road may be a 2-lane road, but it's barely wide enough for 2 lanes. So that's different. And sometimes we don't have all the right of way to have, wide shoulders, 2-foot shoulders, 4-foot shoulders, 10-foot shoulders. So that'll be different, but that's one thing I want to improve. I want to try to make these shoulders wider, and I want to make our roads as good as they can be. And striped, I hear that a lot too. People want stripes on their road. They want the center line. They want the edge line. Well, your road has to be wide enough to accommodate those stripes. So we'll try to work on making them wider so that we can stripe them.
Yeah, because Old Sevier Pike, Chapman Highway, Boyds Creek Highway, Burnett Station, these are all TDOT roads, aren't they?
Old Sevier Pike is not a state route.
Old Sevier Pike's not a state route.
It's not a state route.
Oh. I learned something today. Apparently I have a quote. What is the level of service requirement that you mentioned this in the Mountain Press?
So we like to have a level of service. You want a B or C level of service. A is difficult to get, but you don't want anything lower than a B or C. It's kind of like grades, you know, C we okay, but you don't want anything lower. And A would be nice, but B's good.
Technology. What modern technologies could be helpful for road maintenance? Can you have the thing like on my GPS when it says there's a police ahead so I can slow down?
Oh, yeah.
Anything that says there's a pothole ahead, slow up?
So one of the things that TDOT has that I really do want to incorporate with the county, the state has SmartWay, TDOT SmartWay. And SmartWay is kind of like the Waves or the Google. It'll tell you where there's a traffic impact or traffic is slowed. You know, it does the red, the yellow, green, you know, it's color coded. But we can do that too. One of the things TDOT does too is that we put information into that. We put things into that when we know we're getting ready to pave a road or we know we're going to fix potholes. We put those into that system so that when people log into SmartWay, you can see where the construction's at. You can see where we're going to be paving or where we're going to be patching or where we're going to be doing striping. You can see those kind of things. And if we had that similar technology, we could pass that on. And so when you come down the road, you'll know what to expect. You know, maybe your fault you didn't look, but you'll know, hey, they told us they were going to be paving. And Sevier's done a little bit of that lately too with putting it out on Facebook. They told you where they're patching and paving. So, and then I share it on Facebook. Say, hey, don't get stuck in it. You get stuck in it, it's your own fault. They're getting ready to pave. So go the other way. There's more than one way.
I'm not for sure about this. Are you familiar with the Sevier County Safe Streets Project and the resulting Sevier County Safety Action Plan? How would you do this?
So Safe Streets for All is an opportunity for counties and cities to get money, grant money, to make improvements to their local roads. So Sevier County actually went after some money, and they've got some money that they're going to work on to do some safety studies. So that's really nice. I hope they already have a plan of which roads they're going to study, and they can get to work and start using some of that money. So once they decide which roads need the work and what kind of work they need, then we can go to work to fix those.
And you probably have done your research, so you should kind of have an idea of what are the 3 most pressing road projects, if you're elected in a position, that you would try to put high on your list.
Well, people keep saying Boyd's Creek, but it's a state route, so I can ask, but it's not mine. A lot of people talk about Red Bank. Y'all know about Red Bank. I know that's not a Seymour road, but a lot of y'all heard about Red Bank and 416. They're talking about doing some development there, and you know, Red Bank, I drove it just the other day. I was coming back from Pittman Center at a meet and greet. And so I thought, well, while I'm in this neck of the woods, I'm going to go drive Red Bank. Not that I've never been on Red Bank. I just didn't drive it for the purpose of looking at the road. So I went and looked at it the other day and I drove it. And sure enough, it's pretty narrow and winding. There's places that's nice. It's been widened. It's been paved. There's guardrail. There's retaining wall where the rivers cut through. You can tell where they've tried to fix it. But the whole thing is not wide. The whole thing is not wide. There's a whole lot of houses that live right there on the bank, probably in the flood zone. And we don't need a lot of development trying to get in there and use those roads because they're not made for it. And honestly, I don't know that you've got much room in certain places to widen them. It might need to be a cul-de-sac or a dead end, and then people turn around and go back the way they came. But okay, so Red Bank 416, you know, a lot of the roads that are the cut-throughs to get to Wares Valley, Pigeon Forge, New Era, oh gosh, I'm trying to think. River Divide, yeah. So all those roads, you know, and we've done things. So again, I work at TDOT, but guess what? I've worked on those projects. I've restriped them. I've put in the reflectors around poles. And not me personally, but I've been involved in projects where we've done these things. We've done these things that are low cost improvements that help people see where the road is, the striping, the delineators, the reflectors. These are things that I've been involved on. Lane Hollow Road, there's several that I've been on that we've done. There's a lot of roads I could keep naming. But a lot of your all subdivisions. I mean, somebody called me the other day and she asked me about Birchwood subdivision. So I had to look it up. I used the GPS and or Sevier County GPS. You can ask me later.
The last submitted question for you is, if elected, what would you change about how the current department, or the department is organized and how the projects are prioritized? 2 minutes.
Yeah, so the department organized, I asked for a list of employees so that I could see how many people we had employed under the department. And so I could see how many of each job class. So I know how many supervisors, how many operators, just so I could get a feel for what I'm gonna come in there and start working with. Whether or not I need to be looking to fill new vacancies, or if we need less supervisors and more workers, or if we need more of the operators. And I got a list. It's almost 2 years old. I talked to a few people that work there, and there's a lot of people on that list that don't work there anymore. So that list is not very good for me. But one thing, I want to see who we've got and what their skills are. And if you've got people there that want to learn a new trade, want to learn how to operate, want to be a truck driver instead of a backhoe operator, I want to talk to people like that. And I've had people tell me that people don't answer the phone, people don't call you back. I need somebody at the desk to answer the phone that's knowledgeable. That's something we're going to change. They're going to be able to answer the phone, tell you what's happening and who to talk to. You shouldn't get there and not get a call back.
All right, well, that's all submitted questions. As you said, you'll be at your table here afterwards. If you have any questions, you'll be around.
Come see me, take a card. It's got my phone number on it. You can call me. Thank y'all. You're gonna be on Facebook.
All right, Chad and Michael, is that right, calling? We'll have to come up now. Anything else I'm missing, calling? We're good? Okay, yeah.
Good. Chad and Michael.
Chad and Michael, come on up. Get situated. First off, we do a 2-minute introduction. We'll go back and forth on the questions here. She's trying to put a couple of them together here, so.
Did you say 2?
For the introduction, how long?
I thought it was 5.
5-minute introduction?
Yeah.
Okay, 5-minute introduction, guys. Sorry, Tracy, I cheated you on 3 minutes.
Well, no, that's your car.
All right. Let the incumbent go first.
First off, good evening. How's everybody doing? Thank you, Seymour Library. Appreciate the friends of Seymour Library for holding this forum so that we can have a conversation, a healthy conversation about what's going on in our county. I am your sheriff. I've been at the Sevier County Sheriff's Office for almost 26 years. That happened after I graduated high school and joined the United States Air Force and served as a cop in the Air Force from 91 to 2000. Started out in Texas, really nice and warm there. And then I was sent to my first duty station in Cheyenne, Wyoming at F.E. Warren Air Force Base. Spent about 4.5 years there. Was deployed to the Middle East once while I was there. It was a lot warmer there than it was in Texas. I came back and was welcomed back with another deployment to a 1-year remote in South Korea at Kunsan Air Base. It was cold and hot there, and not a lot of people spoke like I did. And then got home from there and got sent to Barksdale Air Force Base in Bossier City, Louisiana, where I spent my last 3 years, and one more time to the Middle East while I was there. Got done in 2000 with my second enlistment and was honorably discharged from the United States Air Force and came home to work for Sheriff Bruce Montgomery in 2000, where I've been ever since. So I started my time at the Sheriff's Office as a patrolman, and then an FTO, a corporal, and a sergeant. And then in those times, you get to see people in their best and their worst. I tell people this all the time. We don't normally get a phone call when everything's going great. Hey, come on by, everything's good at the house. That's not how that works. Most of the time, there's something going on, and they're looking for a third party to quell that dispute or fix that problem that they've incurred. So that's what we're here for. And I learned a lot about that. Now, the frontline supervision, that first line supervision, I learned a lot as an FTO, a corporal, and a sergeant. And then in 2009, Sheriff Seals at the time asked me to take over the training division, which I did for a number of years. I was promoted to lieutenant and captain. And then in 2014, he promoted me to chief deputy, where I stayed for the 8 years preceding the 22 election, where I was elected by the people of Sevier County to serve as their sheriff, which is where we find ourselves today. So a lot of experience in almost 26 years in the sheriff's office, and then another 9.5 in the United States Air Force serving my country. I felt like that was a decent start to a good resume to try to serve the people of Sevier County, but I knew that they probably needed to see some education to go with that. So I went back to school in 17 and got an associate's degree in public safety law enforcement. And then I went to Bethel University and got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And I went back, like Tracie did, and got a master's degree in criminal justice, because I wanted the people to have a veteran with experience, with education, that can better serve the needs of this county. I am married to the love of my life, Stephanie, for 17.5 years. We share 5 wonderful children that range in age from 22 to 33. But there are 2 little boys who are grandsons, and they outrank all 5 of them. That's Becky and Brady. They're 3.5 and 1.5, and they rule the day. And anything bad in your day can get squashed with a "hey, Poppy," and that stops me in my tracks. But so we have 2 wonderful grandsons that we celebrate on a regular basis. We serve as safety and security team members at First Baptist Church in Gatlinburg, where I also serve as a deacon. And we've been there for 20-something years in that church. Enjoy going to church there. Served in several committees throughout the county. I serve on the Boys and Girls Club of the Smoky Mountains, the Emergency Food and Shelter Committee, serve on the Sevier County Food Ministries. I'm a graduate from Leadership Sevier in 2015. I'm also a member of French Broad Lodge, number 588 of the Free and Safety Masons. And then at the end of it, what I would tell you is that a little bit about the Sheriff's Office and our experiences is that 2008, I was one of the members that helped create our Special Operations Response Team, a team that's still in very good standing today and does a great job for us. And they are just an added extra for a specialized unit that gives us an opportunity to offer another way for our citizens to have great service from the Sheriff's Office. We serve. Oh, there's a yellow card. That's a soccer thing, right? If I get the red, you throw me out. So a lot of moving parts and pieces to our office. 237 employees, and the focus is on taking care of each other. Then we learned that in the military, the team effort, the knowing that this is bigger than one person. It's a team deal. And so I surround myself with other leaders that are focused on the end game, which is to serve you and give you the best police service that we possibly can. We've increased some of our patrol. We've increased our deputies in the SRO division. We've created a special victims unit in our CID, things that are designed to help better serve the neighbors at Seymour, Sevier County, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Wares Valley, Kodak, wherever that may be. We want to do the best that we can. And we have probably 2 of the finest jails in the state that I'm sure at some point tonight, hopefully we'll get to talk about. So thank you very much.
Well, my name is Chad Ogle. Those of you that do not know me, I'll give you a little history about myself. Born and raised here in Sevier County, raised in Sevierville, the youngest of 5 children. And my desire for law enforcement began like a lot of people do when I was a little boy. Had an Uncle Fred. A lot of people knew him. The old heads around there would have known him as Red-Headed Fred. You knew him well. Retired from the electric system, but back when I was 5 or 6 years old, Fred was very good friends with Carmen Townsend, that was the current sheriff. And some of you will remember, some will not, the old jail. He took me down there one night to visit Carmen and took me down in the bullpen, as they called it back then. Scared me to death. But as a little boy, that stirred something in me, and I knew what I always wanted to do. I wanted one of those green and white cruisers. So fast forward, 1992, as soon as I turned 18 years old, through the help of Tommy Widner, that was a chaplain there at the jail, at the sheriff's office under Don Ogle, made some calls, and I started to work. And of course, Hodges was the chief at the time, and gave me that opportunity to work there in that jail. From 1992 to 1994, I worked there as a corrections officer with hopes of making it out on patrol. We had a baby on the way. And in 1994, we had a second baby on the way. 1993, my W-2 read $13,700. That's been a long time ago, but you're not going to raise a family on $13,000. So I had to make the decision to leave. And not long after that, I got in the car business, started selling cars at Rogers Cadillac, which is now Cadillac of Knoxville. And from there, spent about 11 years, the better part of 11 years, with Larry Hill, Pontiac GMC, that used to be there on Dolly Park Parkway. Started downtown, quickly climbed through sales with him into first finance and insurance management, that eventually became a new car sales manager, general sales manager, and from there went on to Hummer and Saturn at Knoxville as a assistant general manager and finance director, and ended up at Secret City Chrysler in Oak Ridge for a couple of years as general manager there. Throughout that course, of my career, got a lot of experience in dealing with millions of dollars of inventory, as well as a lot of employees, a lot of different personalities, learning to lead teams, being groomed to be able to be that leader, that you get in the mix. And I always led from the front in that. However, my heart was still in law enforcement. I have a sister, Kim Ogle. She's here in the back tonight. She just recently retired from the Tennessee Highway Patrol as a captain. So I spent many years living vicariously through her, hearing her stories, and would slip in a couple of ride-alongs with her, as well as some of her guys, to kind of scratch that itch. Throughout the course of life, I didn't think I would ever be able to afford to go back, but I was. I finally realized, hey, I got enough skills, I've got enough connections, I can sell cars on the side, do whatever I got to do to make that work. And in 2014, I went back to the jail, worked 2 years inside the jail. I was a corrections officer, became a corporal, and in 2016, Hodges was the Sheriff Seals, and Michael Hodges was the chief deputy. They gave me the opportunity to come out on patrol. Went to the academy and quickly, of course, climbed through those ranks and became an FTO, a corporal, a sergeant, and also an operator on the SORT team. During that process of advancing in that career, in 2020, my wife Tiffany and I, we shared 9 kids and 12 grandkids, because I had one born this evening. We opened up a car lot of our own here in Seymour, right in the middle of COVID, and it is still thriving today, primarily because she works all the time and just lets me campaign and be a lot boy. Thank you.
Well, I've done my best to sort through all these questions. I did go to Dole, sorry. I can count a little bit. But I'll pose the questions here. You guys sit down. I mean, let's stand up.
You gotta watch those fire chiefs.
We're tired. Okay, so I'll go back. We'll do one question and the answer, and then I'll have Chad, you do one, and Mike, we'll go back and forth, okay? It's kind of the format how I go. And 2 minutes each for the timekeeper down there. Sevier County is unique that it has many visitors in addition to its 100,000 residents. How does that impact the sheriff's department?
Well, it's the old saying, you come here on vacation, you might leave on probation. There's one chance for that. So obviously we sit in the heart of the Smokies, and we are a drive away from so many places. So It's a tourist destination that many people in the surrounding states and communities come here to visit, and they enjoy it. So that 100,000 most of the time can look like 300,000, 350,000. And so it's our job to try to police that. That's a difficult task. It's a difficult task between us, the 4 cities that also have law enforcement in this county, and we do that as a team. We do that with combined efforts through communication and through constantly training together and knowing what that looks like. But growth, whether it's from your tourist population or from the residential population here, requires for you to grow with it. You can't have increased population and have that sitting there and not bring anything with it. So the services that the citizens of this county expect, we need to continue to provide. And the only way to do that is to grow with that. So we have a very receptive and listening, paying attention type county commission. They are well in tune with the growth of this county and how that looks and what we have to do to continue to see that grow. And we do that through committees. We take our requests through our committees and try to grow our agency the best we can to meet the needs. And then the trends that we see will dictate what kind of growth that entails, whether it's in CID or whether it's in our undercover units, in patrol, or it's in the SRO division. Those things all dictate how we move throughout the growth that we experience in our county on a regular basis. And the second that you stop, you're backing up. So you have to keep going forward. So we surround ourselves with people that share that same vision so that we can move this county in the right direction.
So I'll start by responding to this question I was about to say before I ran out of time because I got too long-winded. I'm also a county commissioner and have been for the past 3.5 years here in Seymour, in District 6, Seat A, and I found out real quick, being a county commissioner, we have a great commission right now, and it's more than just wearing a pretty blue shirt with an embroidered logo. We do a lot of hard work, and we work very hard with our sheriff and our other politicians, and we get a lot accomplished. But Sevier County being unique and having that influx of visitors, here's how it affects us. Manpower. I don't know that we could ever have enough manpower, honestly, to cover what we have coming in here. But I'll give you an example, and you guys are going to remember Slammed Enough that took place in Pigeon Forge. You remember what a disaster that was. What you may not understand is just how much of a disaster that could truly have been that night. I have friends, officers and former officers that were there on that scene that have been to war and will tell you there was a moment in their lives that they thought they were not going to make it out of there. So we have got to work not just to increase our patrol and increase our officers, but we have got to find a way to make very good use of those assets that we have in this county. This county is well funded, as you all know. So when we know there's events like that, it needs to be all hands on deck and everybody needs to be accountable. There's overtime that we can ask for or pay, and I'm sure the commission will give us what we need.
Keep standing. Do you believe the department makeup should reflect the makeup of the general population of the county? Let me repeat it. Do you believe the department makeup should reflect the makeup of the general population of the county?
So I'm not sure that I understand that question as far as reflecting the general population of the county. But I guess the answer would be yes. You know, as far as our county, this community is a community that is a hard-working community. We're built on salt of the earth people that understand what it is to get in the trenches, to have boots on the ground, and to deliver good products and services, and they take pride in their work. So I'm not certain if that's where that question is going, but that's how I would answer it. I believe we need people that understand what it is to roll up our sleeves and get the job done, no matter what the task is.
Ready, set, go. So a lot of times that's a demographic question. It's asking, are we talking about having a population at our sheriff's office that also mirrors that of our citizens? So if we have 10 to 15% of our population that's African American, 10 to 15% that may be Asian, 10% that may be Caucasian, whatever that looks like, that's the makeup you're looking to reflect of your own agency. So that when you go out for calls for service and you respond to investigation, you're responding with people that can relate to the people you're serving. So most of the time, we're talking about a demographic that talks about a race and ethnicity, something along those lines that offers you an opportunity to serve those with people who might be able to relate to them a little bit better. You know, if we're talking about a child that has an issue or where they're a victim of a crime, we're going to want to have somebody talking to that child that can relate to them on a special level, like we do with our safe harbor and things like that. But in this instance, it's nice sometimes to see somebody that may be similar to you. Not always, but when we can. And so we try to mirror those demographics in the way that we hire our hiring practices, looking for people. Now that goes beyond race and ethnicity too. We're looking for veterans. If you're a veteran, you're going to have some preference in most of our county offices. I mean, just because they mean that much to the citizens of this county. And then lastly, when you have those types of things, that encourages people to be more receptive and more communicative with the agency that's serving them. So you're just looking to mirror the community you've been asked to serve. That's what we're trying to do when they ask a question of makeup and demographics. I guess I still have to stand. Yes. Your shirt still says Chief.
Volunteer. What is your stance on community policing as it regards Sevier County, community policing?
It's everything. It's everything that we do. We are horrible at what we do for a living if we don't have the support of our community. So when we come to your neighborhoods to respond to a call for service, whatever that call may be, if we aren't already creating a transparent relationship with you, then the idea that you're going to just be forthcoming with information is probably slim, none, or void from you communicating with us. What we have to do is we have to be there. So we did that. We set up community events my entire first term where we just went around. It was difficult. Like in Seymour, for you to drive to Sevier County Sheriff's Office and me set up shop there and show you some of the things that we have. So what we did was we came to Seymour. We went to Wares Valley. We went to Pigeon Forge. We went all over this county and set up shop, showed you our toys and said, this is what we have. Tell me what you like about it and tell me what you hate about it so that we can be better. I will tell you emphatically that we'll never get it all the way right, but we're going to die trying, I promise you. And one of those things is embracing the community we serve by going to where they are and letting them see that. If you've been at work for 8, 10, 12 hours, you're not driving to Sevier, especially this weekend. There's another robbery. But you're not driving to Sevier. I need to come 5 minutes from your house, offer you a hot dog supper, and then let you see all the toys we have. So there's one less thing you have to deal with that night, and you can come out and see us. So we do that. We do that with our neighborhood program. We have a crime prevention unit. They drive the neighborhoods every day of the week. We serve seniors with people that can't get out, and we take food to them every day, trying to serve our neighbors. There's no cost there. It's just a service we want to provide because we want to be there for our neighbors. So that when they see us, they go, that's the guy that brought me dinner last night. I know him. I can trust him. I can tell him something. That's how we become successful in our investigations and the things that we go throughout our day as law enforcement. And everybody in this room knows we are tried in a various amount of ways on calls for service. I mean, it's from a neighbor blew grass in my yard to a homicide. So we need to be very, very skilled to communicate with our neighbors, and that's one way that we do it.
We're absolutely going to agree on a lot of things. You know, and that's the terrible part about politics. Just because you're running against each other doesn't mean that you don't have some of the same values and some of the same beliefs. And I believe community policing is very important. You know, and not just the programs for you to come see what we're doing, but to be interactive. You know, for these deputies, not just reserves and I'm thankful for the reserves. Thankful. but not just riding around in a cruiser and just the reserves, getting to know the community. The deputies that are out patrolling have got to learn, and we've got to train them. The young deputies that are coming up, there's a lot of them, and thankful for them. So we've got to train them. You know, they're so used to being on their phone, they're so used to playing games. That's just this generation. So they've got to learn to, when they're in these communities, to get out, to interact with the kids, to interact with the old folks, like I'm becoming, you know, and to get in these businesses, to get to know the people that are working behind these counters, to build relationships with them, because that's where you learn a lot about the trends, and you can see when you know the people in the convenience centers, in the communities, in the subdivisions, you begin to see when something's different. You begin to see when something's out of place. And you've built that trust. You'll get the phone calls and you'll get the guys and the gals that'll lean in your ear and say, hey, you need to understand this is what's going on. So community policing, very important, very essential.
This one's dealing with budgets. I'll read the one statement and kind of merge into the other one here. And you kind of elaborated on this on both of your opening statements. What qualifications such as education, leadership development, and relevant professional experience have prepared you to serve as sheriff and effectively oversee a multi-million-dollar budget? The sheriff is responsible for managing taxpayer budgets. Can you explain how you would prioritize spending for staffing, training, and public safety? And do you have any prior experience in managing a large budget?
So as I said before, I started in the car business, and I entered management 25 years ago in the car business. I'm used to multi-million-dollar budgets in those multi-line franchises. Cut my teeth, came up learning to read those line item budgets and understand, you know, how to place that money. But listen, here's the thing. I absolutely understand the importance of taking care of the taxpayer money, and I understand the accountability that goes along with that. Being also a part of the county commission the last 3.5 years, I have seen the money that comes through the county, and I understand how important it is for us to be fiscally responsible, because you can have all the money that you need, that you think you need, but if you can't retain the people that you've got to do those jobs, and you continue to lose those people, and you're having to spend money to retrain and replace those people, you can find yourself very quickly running out of money. There may not be any more money left for training, which is essential, important with all these young deputies, as I've said, that are coming up. There may not be enough money left in the budget to buy ammo to train. So I understand, and I absolutely would take that very seriously and not take for granted the power that is in that pen.
So the budget amount is $27.5 million. We're managing 2 jails because we manage programs and we lead people. So we have to forecast things. Anybody in there have an idea of what we're going to do inmate population wise between today and tomorrow? Have no idea, right? It's all about forecasting. It's all about looking at trends. Those trends are dictated by the season. Rock Run's coming. I promise you, our jail is going to get a few extras this weekend, right? They have to be fed. They have to have medical exams, okay? We currently, I gutted one of our trustee dorms and put in the largest walk-in freezer in Sevier County. I mean, the largest. There's not one bigger. There ain't a restaurant here. Kirby Smith, any of them. They can't touch it. It's 20 by 25 feet. And that is meant so that we can buy frozen food that has a longer shelf life and lasts longer so that we can feed longer, so that we can weather those storms when there's an influx of inmate population. Took a $500,000 food budget the first year I got it. In January, we built that freezer. And in June, I gave the county commission back $90,000. We forecast every week. We have a meeting with our command staff every week, and we talk about budgetary items. We bring in the sheets, and we talk about them line by line, okay? The trends of growth, we put enough in there to catch that. We put enough trends in there to make sure we're buying cars and looking at the variances that come through and increase the price of a car, or increase the price of the equipment that has to go on it. See, it's not like it was back in the day when you bought a $25,000 cruiser, threw a bubblegum light ball on top of it, and called it a day. We're $62,000 in on a cruiser. That's what you can't predict, because we got 150 vehicles in the fleet. One of those wrecks, they're not going to give you back $62,000. So you have to be creative. We have to create situations where we can respond to those problems. Salaries, a benefited package for a deputy straight out the bat is $85,000. I know your budget. I live it every day. $13.5 million in our jail and $14 million on the law enforcement side that is taking care of 237 employees. I forgot I said, I'm sorry.
Our knees will have to. Something that's very important that's going on, in the states right now is dealing with the illegal aliens, and there's several questions here. I'm trying to pull them together. So if you have put questions in, I'm going to try to bring them together and probably expand, because this is an important topic. Probably expand a little more time. Can we go 3 minutes? Is that okay with you? Timekeeper, okay. I'm going to read the first statement, then someone broke it down, one for Michael and one for Chad. We all understand that the sheriff is bound to obey the law surrounding undocumented non-citizens and ICE. Can you explain the Sevier County's department role in detaining and transporting undocumented police people to ICE custody, and what, if any, tweaks would you make, if you could, to improve implementation of this law, and how do you feel about detaining the undocumented workers who may have had a long time undocumented workers who may have been longtime nonviolent members of our community? And for Michael, I'm trying to put these together, is how is the Sheriff's Department cooperating with the Department of Homeland Security?
Okay, question one. So first and foremost, let's clear the air about a few things. First and foremost, there's not a local or state officer in this country who's allowed to walk up to somebody who's an illegal immigrant and take them into custody. That is a federal credential requirement. You have to work for ICE Homeland Security with those credentials. So there's a training opportunity. We participate in all the models that Homeland Security and ICE provide to the Sevier County Sheriff's Office. We have a warrant service officer model. That model is inside of our jails and allows our corrections officers to act in the stead of an ICE agent. And what I mean by that is, once we have an illegal immigrant brought into our jail, for whatever the case may be, some kind of local or state charge, once they're fingerprinted and determined not to be a legal citizen or a naturalized citizen, they go on ICE hold. Our officers would then be able to go in and actually serve the writs and get that paperwork done on the minimum to get their incarceration begun, so that they don't have to drive down here from West Knoxville or wherever they may be at that time. Second program we participate in is the corrections model. The corrections model is where we're able to hold and house illegal immigrants. Now, that's a beautiful thing, because we just got through talking about budgets. The federal government's going to pay us. So a quick answer for that would be that the state pays me $53 a day to hold a state inmate because they don't have room for them in the prison. And the only reason it's $53 a day is because your 2 jails are Tier 2 accredited. One of the first 5 in the entire state of Tennessee to pull that off. And they've been accredited 5 times since I've been your sheriff, and that has nothing to do with me and everything to do with our correctional staff. The second thing I would tell you is, because of that, ICE is going to pay us approximately $115 a day per inmate. A lot better than the state. That's a lot of revenue. The second part of that is that we have a TFO. The third part is a TFO model. It's a task force officer. That task force officer, who's already in place, already been through the training, does have the credentials to act as an ICE agent. If they build a package, send it to us, we work in conjunction with them on a daily basis. The last part of your question is this one it?
No, sorry.
You have it? Oh, man, you got to pause. All right, so that's your part of the bottom. All right, so last but not least, we work with them on a daily basis because we don't want the Minnesota effect in here. We don't want people terrorizing anybody. We want to do our jobs, follow the letter of the law, but at the same time, still be respectful. Regardless of where your home country of origin may be, it's unfortunate. There are plenty of laws on the books, on the Tennessee Code Annotated, that I'm not exactly happy about. I promise you, if you ask Chad, he'd probably tell you the same thing. There's some things that just don't make a lot of sense. But we're going to follow the law to the very letter of it. We're going to cooperate with our federal partners because that's what we're mandated to do. I'm a constitutional sheriff. I'm not going to negate my responsibilities, especially with a federal agency. So we put a gentleman on the task force so that we can do exactly that. Stay better in tune with the agencies we're working with, because we work with ATF, DEA, U.S. Marshals, FBI, and now good old-fashioned ICE. And we want to make sure that we're in the know about what's going on before somebody comes into our county and starts collecting up illegal immigrants. And then we can be an active participant, but at the same time lawful in everything that we do. Thank you.
Sheriff, the two-part question, I don't think there's any sense in me beating that horse to death. You just explained what the sheriff's office is currently doing and the procedures and the law that they are following. And so I would be of the mindset to continue that. My second part of the question is, how would you have the sheriff's department cooperate with the Department of Homeland and Security? So thank you for your clarification and the way you answered exactly what we're doing right now. What I have been asked is more of the, hey, give me the beans and cornbread. Give me the straight answer, without all the policies and procedures. What are you feeling? So here's what I will tell you, and it will back up exactly what he just told you. You cannot just decide that you're going to go out here and start hooking up undocumented illegal immigrants. So my answer has been this. Do I want to work with Homeland Security? Do I want to work with ICE? Do we want to work with all federal agencies? Absolutely. We want to continue to build that relationship. We want to look at this 287G and keep a pulse on that and see, is it effective? Is it the best program? Are we participating as deeply as we need to be in the model? So the beans and cornbread answer that I have shared with people is just so we understand. I do not want a deputy pulling up beside a car at a red light and looking over and saying, oh, that's a brown person. They must be here illegally. Let me stop and see if we can document that. And if they're undocumented, trying to hook them up. And what he just said is we cannot do that. Being here illegally is a civil offense in the first place. But here's what I do want. I want those officers paying attention to that same vehicle if it's breaking the speed limit, or if it makes an improper turn, or it's got a bad tag on it, not wearing a seatbelt, and we have probable cause to make a stop, and we realize they're undocumented, then I want us working with ICE to detain those individuals. Beyond that, what I expect out of the patrol division would be this. Pay attention, guys. You're out here, you're in these houses, you're on these back roads, you're in these subdivisions. The Sevier County Sheriff's Office cannot become ICE. I do not have any desire for them to become ICE. We don't have the manpower, and I don't think that would be your heart either, for us to become ICE. There's too many other things that we've got to worry about, but here's what I want them doing. Oh, I have been at this residence, and I see that it's cut up 17 different ways. Or there's 22 cars out here and there's multiple entrances to this house. A brand new subdivision with a house that's got 7 entrances on the front. That's a problem. Let's report and let's work with ICE to get that taken care of.
A couple follow-up questions are asked, and you've already answered this, but I just want to make sure that the viewer or the person in here, if an undocumented person is arrested for committing a crime, will you turn them over to ICE for deportation?
Absolutely. I don't think either one of us need 2 minutes to answer that question.
And like this is, oh, go ahead, sorry.
So they can't be turned over to ICE until their case has been adjudicated in our county. So if they're arrested for a driver's license offense or a wreck or driving on without a license or a domestic or a DUI, whatever those are, those have to be handled first. We deal with them in our office every day because they show up, their family, not them, they're in our jail. But they show up wanting to pay a bond. And what they don't realize is when you pay the bond, you are starting the party to get their case handled. And when that happens, that opens the door for ICE. And so that's a different game there. The other thing I would tell you is that when these individuals are being arrested, what you have to be mindful of is that right now, there's some of them I don't want to release. I've got a Honduran couple that is less than 25 years old, and they killed their 2-month-old daughter. They're in our jail. I don't want them going anywhere. I want them to answer for that right now because that little baby's ashes are sitting on my desk. So I'm good for them being deported, but there's a couple we're going to see through right here in Sevier County. They did that here, and we're going to see it through because that 2-month-old baby didn't get a say. But they're going to get a say here. Now, I know that he would agree with that as well. But when it comes right down to it, we have to do what's right for these kids. And that's where the things get tricky with ICE. It does. It does. That's why you have to be involved with them so you know what's going on. That's why you got to have a player on the team, and we do. And we have a resident in our county who works for ICE. So we kind of have an inside track now anyways. Putting a guy on their task force helps us in that regard too. But when it comes to these folks, we have to be careful about that because some of them we need right here to answer the bell for what they did while they were here. That's all I got.
And this is, a loaded question. And I guess it comes, do you feel that Sevier County residents who are not yet citizens should be deported?
That would make them illegal, right?
Yes.
So that's what the law says. And we have to abide by the law. And so I know the argument, and the argument can be the argument all day long, but as long as that law is on the books, that's the way that works. And as fortunate as that may be for some who have been here for a long time and never broken the law, when that law is broken and they get arrested and they get brought to our jail, my feelings on the matter no longer exist because we're going to follow the law. This office, your sheriff's office, is a constitutional office. It requires that. There's a lot of things I don't like, guys. I promise you Chad doesn't either. But that's the way that is. It's the law, and we're going to abide by that. We don't get to pick them. You don't get to pick, I like that one. We're going to wear this one out. Not so much on this one. No, we can't do that. And so we have to be in constant communication with our federal partners, with our state partners. And that's how we do those types of things. We have to follow the law. And when it comes to legal immigration, if you're not naturalized or you aren't a born-again Christian / American citizen, whatever you'll call it, if you're not from here and you don't have papers to put you here, the bottom line is that you can be deported. And you may be one of the absolute finest people that you could ever meet. But that's not my call. I don't ride them, I enforce them. And so it would be great if we could just kind of get together. We could pick a few that we want to touch up. I think we could probably all come together on some of those. But at the end of the day, those laws are in the books. They're meant to be there for us to abide by. That's why we have a constitution. That's why we have our Tennessee Code annotated. We have to follow those. And unfortunately, that affects some people that may be pretty good people, but they're not here legally. Thank you.
So again, just to reiterate what the sheriff said, absolutely, we're going to be a constitutional sheriff's office, and we're going to abide by those laws. And so, as unfortunate as it is, there will be some people that it'll hurt your heart to see them deported. But here's my hopes, and we've experienced that personally. There was a gentleman that his daughter played soccer with one of our children. Good, solid guy. He had been here for probably 22, 23 years, contributing to society, and good Christian man, absolutely good Christian man. going through a lot of issues. His wife had what they believed to be MS. But instead of, when I first stepped out to announce my campaign, instead of him wanting us to pray for his wife, he was concerned about praying for us and that God would have his will in our life. But he was deported. And that's unfortunate, but here's what I hope. People come here wanting a better life. And I've spoken with some people that are advocates for helping them learn to come right. And this is what I've said in one of my Q&A videos that I do on Facebook. If you want to come here and you want to prosper and you want to have God allow you to prosper, then you got to line yourself up with him. And aligning yourself up with him means aligning yourself up with the laws of the land and doing it properly. And if they're willing to do that, I think you, as well as I, and most of you in this room tonight and everybody watching online would readily embrace those that are willing to do it right.
Thank you. That is a very important subject, especially in Sevier County.
Absolutely.
Remember, I went to Dole. Will there be more press conferences or access for the community and the county to know what's going on? I'm adding, not on Seymour Speaks Out. Example, guns at schools,
Yeah.
murders, crimes in Sevier County.
Yeah, I think that's very important, and that's a question that I answered in a recent forum. So I believe in transparency, and if you guys, some of you have followed me, a lot of you have followed me, whether you're supporting me or not, I know that you followed me, and you have seen the plan that I had, the tactical plan, and transparency, accountability, the compassion, the tenacity, the integrity, the courage, the accessibility, approachability, and the leadership. So yes, I believe communication and leadership means getting on the forefront. Understanding there's going to be times that we can't divulge all information that we're aware of, but I believe the community needs to hear from us, whether it's in front of a camera on our website, our Facebook, or in front of the news media. There needs to be quick communication when there has been a major bust or there's been a major incident. And again, we may not be able to divulge everything, but I believe you need to hear from us quickly and regularly. So the short answer to that is yes.
So some of those things you start talking about, gun incidents or big incidents that require some transparency and things like that. That's exactly right. And when we put those things out, those things are put out to inform. But there's a lot of times where we have to hold back until either the case, they've at least been arrested, or we have a suspect that we're looking for and we're ready to go. You start having problems with it in a school or where there are a large number of parents, you can really cause some serious chaos and some issues out in the community that didn't have to be that way. And so when we hold back, it's not to keep it from you. It's just that until we're ready to get this thing out or ready to do what we need to do with the suspect. It may be developing a suspect and we're just about there, but we're trying to find exactly where that suspect is hiding or laying out or where he's at or she's at. And until we put it out on social media, and that's it. They go back deep under, we got to find them, they go to a county over, whatever the case may be. So we have to be a little strategic before we release some information. We need to know who we're going to get, and we're on our way to get them, and then it's a different ballgame. So yes, we work for you. I mean, we absolutely work for you. So you deserve to know what's going on. You really do. Sometimes I just need you to let us have that temporary pause until we get to the point where we're able to release it. And then the things that are in place, we can give you more information to begin with. I talk to our media all the time. Give me about an hour and I'll call you back and tell you what you need to know. Or I'm gonna put a press release out. If you'll just wait, I'll give it to you first because you called. Well, that's Jeff Farrell, Kyle Granger, whoever the case may be. We do that on a regular basis. We have a great county PIO now. Jeff McCarter, our chief over the investigations, he's done it several times. All of us have had a part in that, but when we hold back, it's just so that we can get our ducks in a row on the investigation before we push it out. Or we need to let the school system notify the parents of their parent square, or whatever the case may be, before we push something out about an arrest or a crime that we're investigating. So that's the best way for us to do it and keep our community safe and from having any type of chaos.
Getting to the last couple of questions here. Law enforcement leadership relies heavily on public trust. How should the candidates ensure their campaigns remain truthful and respectful during an election?
Simple. People get on social media and attack you. You gotta stay quiet. Even when some of the things that are being said are not true, that's just how you do that. You don't say anything. You let that go. Because most of the time, some of that stuff is either skewed, it's exaggerated, or it's not even in the realm of what actually happened. I have respect for Chad. I've known Chad for a long time. Known Kim for a long time. We threw a spike strip out years ago together on Chapman Highway one night. Didn't work out for us, but with him. But I've known Chad for a long time, and so I have respect for him. And because of that respect, first and foremost, I got to know that Jesus loves him just as much as he loves me. And so anything I would say discouraging to him publicly or on a social media website and attack him personally, it just takes away any credibility I would have of being a Christian father, grandfather, and husband that I want to be. So in order to do that, then we have to stay above board. I can't attack him personally. I don't want to. I helped promote him twice. I mean, my gosh, corporal sergeant. So it's not about that. It's about being professional. And to be professional means that I have to look beyond whether I like the fact that he's running or not. I think we all know that I don't. I think Chad would probably wish that I was retired and he was running. I'm not. But it's respect. It's just being respectful, and part of that just goes beyond whatever our personal feelings are or trying to figure out why that happened. It goes right back to what I was raised on. When I got saved, accepted Jesus as my Savior, is that God loves us all. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who it is. He loves us the same, and I need to be as respectful as I can to that process and understand that God's got control of this situation, not I do. So that would be how we.
And as I said, you guys are going to hear that we're not going to have near as many differences as you think that we would have setting up here. I feel the same way. And, politics they're terrible, especially when you start running countywide like this. I told the sheriff the night I resigned, and you will back this up, that this was not a personal vendetta that I had against him. I do not hate Michael Hodges, and he just told you he does not hate me. He may hate the fact that I'm running, and I may dislike some things that have been done with his administration and policies, but listen, that doesn't mean we're up here ready to go fisticuffs because we hate and despise each other. The unfortunate part is when you have supporters and you have people that love you and may not understand all the intricacies of why you're running and why you're doing what you're doing, is when you have friends that you've had for life that delete you on Facebook immediately when you announce your campaign. When you have friends that you thought that you've had for life that have taken shots at you. I've had several shots taken at me. We both have. But here's what I told the sheriff, and I will reiterate this again. I'm doing this because I wrestled with God for about 2 years. I feel like this is a calling that God placed on my life, and this was a mandate that I must follow. If I do not follow that, then I am absolutely not honoring God. And I told God, and I told the sheriff the night that I resigned, I want to serve the Sevier County Sheriff's Office and make this the best department that I can, however you tell me to, so we're serving this community in the best way that we can. If that means you want me to go wash Michael's feet like Jesus would wash his disciples, listen, no joking here. If I felt like that's what God told me to do tonight, I would take this water right now and wash this man's feet, if that's what God required of me. I promise you that.
It's about a size 12.
DY.
What? Yeah, that's me. As the Bible song goes, I'm deep and wide. The last question, then you guys will have time for closing comments. Chad, if you're elected, what are your top 3 priorities, and how will the community know if you are successful?
So top 3 priorities would be to let this community see a department that leads from the front. Starting with getting in there with our folks, listening to them, paying attention to what they're dealing with. You know, law enforcement is ever evolving, just like anything. And it's changed a lot over the last 25, 30 years. So if you haven't had your boots on the ground in a lot of years, you may not know what these guys are dealing with, what they need, what tools are really important to them. You know, so I would hope to improve morale, and I would hope to increase the staffing that we have. And so you're going to see increased patrol. You're going to see more drug busts. You're going to see more criminals that are taken into custody. You're going to see an active police force, and it's going to be in the forefront of what we do. You're going to hear from us, like I said before. And I think the success will be measured by this. 3, 4, 5 years from now, when you see a cruiser, you're going to recognize that person. Right now, you probably don't recognize a lot of our deputies. Our turnover has been very high. I think that it's somewhere 33 to 35 officers on patrol that we have seen exit over the last 3.5 years. Our patrol division is 4 shifts that are made up, when we're full, of 11 people. So that's 44 people. So I think your success will be measured by that and by the improved policing that you're going to see.
Top 3, that's tough. We want to address growth. We want to address the growth of our county. That's one of the first things we want to address, because it happens every single day. When I was a young deputy working in Seymour, I could get on Boyd's Creek down at 66, and there'd be a minute before I passed the car, and it would certainly be a minute before I passed all the subdivisions that we now see, which is a great thing. And some of them are absolutely beautiful. They're well maintained, and so we enjoy that. But we got to address growth. Growth is one of the first and foremost things I do, because it affects everything. It affects our economy, it affects our manpower, and the problem is that as houses get built, people move here and move into them. They still expect a cruiser to be there as quick as we can. Okay, so in Seymour, we always have at least 2, try to have 3. All right, and that is just because of the sheer population. So you have a priority that no other zone in this county enjoys, but that's just because of the population. We want to increase our response time, and we do that by addressing growth. Secondly, we want to address some issues in corrections. Okay, and when I say issues, they're great issues. Okay, I want a work release program that allows us to build a building, put some inmates in it that don't just come here to get incarcerated, but get rehabilitated. They get their GED. We have that program. They're using the state tablets to learn how to be a plumber, an HVAC man, or a heat and air guy. So when you're doing those are things that you're learning, so that when you get out, that can be what you turn to, not reverting back to drugs or stealing or the problems that put you there in the first place. And we do that with TCAT. I had a 53-foot trailer show up to my jail a couple of months ago and teach 12 to 13 inmates how to weld. Yeah, a little scary the first time, but we did all right. But that's what we're trying to do, because we want to create somebody that doesn't come back. I want our programs to put us out of business, and we need to increase those. A work release program does that, because it allows these inmates to leave without debt, without a bunch of court costs and fees, and we can change those people and put them back on the track to what they need to do in And then the last thing is our personnel. We always invest in personnel. We invest in them financially. We invest in them with their health. We invest in mentally and physically. They are the backbone of what we do for a living. And if we want to serve you, we have to serve them first. I've done that. I've increased their salaries by at least 30% in my first term.
Mr. Timekeeper, how much time for closing? 2 minutes for closing. All right. You're up. Go ahead.
Tell me not to sit down. All right. First off, it's a pleasure to be your sheriff. I love serving this county. I've been doing it for almost 26 years. Raised our family here. Absolutely can't think of any county on earth that's better than Sevier County, Tennessee. We serve a county who sticks together, stays together, fights together, and that happened in the wildfires of 16, it happened in the Hatcher Mountain fires in 21. It happens anytime we face adversity. I don't care where it is. When I was in Seymour with the bomb threat not a few months ago, we're out on the scene. I had at least 15 neighbors come up and go, "Where's he at, Sheriff? Where'd he go?" You know, and so that's what you want. You want active neighbors who are participating and want to be a part of fixing the issues. And so we do that and we enjoy it. But at the end of the day, it's about us communicating with you and serving you in the ways that you've called us to do that. So how do we figure that out? How do we continue to do that? It's by being face to face with you. This and any social media app that's on it is awful. Okay. Looking you in your face and having a conversation with you about the things that I want to do, the things that I have done, and the things that I'm going to continue to do. That's where we make the real difference. And that's why I want to be your sheriff for the next 4 years. I didn't come here for a term. I came here to serve. God called me 4 years ago. He stood right there and told me, or I wouldn't be standing here today. So it's way more than a position. This is where we get to work and serve our neighbors. My phone rings constantly, and when it's a neighbor, we get to have a good conversation. Sometimes not the best ones, but sometimes it's good conversation, but it's still a conversation. If I don't come to your house, or you come to my office, or we meet somewhere in the middle and have lunch and try to figure that out, that's what serving you is all about. And we have 237 employees that we ask to hold a high standard to serve you with the utmost police service possible. We do that with over $100,000 in our training budget to make sure they do have the best training. They do have the best training that we can afford. And every time it starts to get a little low, we ask the commission to up it. My first thing I did was take a $40,000 budget and made it 100, so that we could train those people to be the best. Thank you for letting me be your sheriff.
So, thank you for making the effort to come out tonight and hear from us. I appreciate each and every one that made that trek, and also those of you that are watching online. Appreciate you taking time to hear both of our heart, both of our platform. And here's what I'll say to you. I would be more than honored to continue to serve this community as I have the last 12 years of my life as your sheriff, though, in that role. And I told you how I felt that God had laid this mandate on my heart. So here's what I know. I would love to ask for your vote. And if I become your sheriff, you will find that I am very accessible. You will see me out here with you. You will be able to call me on the phone. I'm going to respond. I'm going to be out here listening to what you have to say. That's my promise to you if I earn your vote. Because here's what I'm going to do. I am going to follow Jesus Christ, first and foremost. And whatever he has for this agency, we're going to line ourselves up with him, because he's the best leader that ever walked the face of this earth. In closing, let me say this. If after May 5th, this election is over, and you have chosen to elect Michael Hodges as your sheriff to return, I will serve you well. I will respect you, just like I told you I would when I left. I've not disrespected you, and I will honor what God has allowed to happen, because here's the thing that we all need to understand. At the end of the day, God is the one who appoints us, and we are responsible solely to him. So sometimes he appoints, sometimes he removes, and we're all going to be good with whatever he chooses. Thank you all.
Now, come out again next week and vote. Fulfill your responsibility and your right. And check out some books in the library. Thank you, Tracie, Chad, and Michael. And thank you, Chief, retired Chief John. We could use a little help putting chairs up, so help the candidates, help us put the chairs away.